everyone, I hope that you are doing well. I'm looking forward to today because we are going to be talking about non-dairy milks. Now there's a number of them out on the market. There's almond milk, there's some coconut, there's soy, there's oat, and then in each of those there's several different brands of them. So it can get really overwhelming pretty quickly standing in front of the non-dairy milks and like which one you're going to pick. Some of it comes down to personal preference. Today I want to know how they stand up in a recipe, and what we're going to do today is make some cornbread. I've tried a couple of vegan cornbread recipes from scratch and I didn't really care for them. They were either really super crumbly to where you could barely get it out of the pan, or they just tasted like sugar. So this is the recipe that we're going to be trying today. So I found this at the grocery store and it has very simple ingredients. Now, if you're a really strict vegan, this does have honey powder, and so that might be a deal breaker for you. For me, I'm kind of on the fence about honey, and so for now, I'm just going to move forward with it. I may change my mind at some point, but for now, that's what we're going to do. So the very first thing that we need to get started on here is our egg replacer. I've been really liking using flaxseed. I feel like it gets kind of gelatinous like an egg, and but it needs to sit for a few minutes to kind of thicken up, so we need to do that first. Okay, so for the egg replacer, you just need some, you can use pre-ground flaxseed. I actually like to keep it in the pantry like this, and then I just grind it up as I need it. This is just a coffee grinder, and so I'm just going to put a couple tablespoons in here and grind it up. All right, so there's one. All right, so we're going to pop the lid on here. Going to make some noise here for a minute. All right, that is looking pretty good. If I can get the lid off. All right, so you can see in there how that just is really ground up pretty fine. In order to do one egg, which is what the recipe calls for, you want 1 tablespoon of the ground flaxseed. And because we're doing 2 recipes, I'm just gonna put 2 separate ones here. And then you wanna use 3 tablespoons of water per each one. So it's 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed to 3 tablespoons of water. And so we're just gonna let this sit for a couple minutes while we get everything else ready. Okay, so I mentioned that I wanted to try something a little bit different with this oat milk. As you can see, I bought the extra thick and creamy. I want to try to make some buttermilk. And so the recipe calls for 2/3 cup of milk. And so I'm just going to measure out 2/3 here. You can see how creamy this is. And then I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Ooh, that smells so strong. All right, I'm just gonna give that a little bit of a stir. And then it says to let it sit for just a couple minutes. So on the back of the box, it just says 2/3 cup of milk, 1/3 cup butter or margarine, and 1 egg. And so for the butter, I am using the Earth Balance, and I've already pre-melted that, so that's ready to go. Okay, so everything has had a couple minutes to sit, and I think we're ready to mix everything all together. So this is gonna be the one with the soy milk. I have already sprayed my pan, so the soy milk is gonna be in the white pan, and the oat milk is gonna be in the clear pan, which has also been sprayed. So I need 2/3 cup of soy milk. And you can see that's kind of thick, so there's 1, plus a few extra dribbles that I spilled. There's 2. And then the recipe also calls for 2/3 cup of melted butter. So there's my melted butter. The egg replacer, how it's just a little bit kind of thick and gloopy, kind of like an egg. So I'm just gonna dump that right in here. And then I'm just gonna stir this all together here. So the soy milk one is all set and ready to go. And now we're just gonna add everything here to the oat milk. So buttermilk that I made. And I'm just gonna pour that right in there. We'll just give this a good stir. All right, these are ready to go. My oven is preheated to 375, and it says that these need to bake for 25 to 30 minutes. So let's get them going. All right, so while the cornbread is in the oven baking, I wanted to try a couple of other things with the non-dairy milk. Try something called a milk steamer. So I thought we could start by doing a little bit of a comparison. This is the almond milk. So this is the extra creamy oat milk. You can definitely see that that is definitely a little creamier. And then we have just your basic soy milk. Yeah, that one looks even thicker. Interesting. All right, fine, I'll take a sip and see. Definitely not a soy milk fan. I mean, it's not bad, but I just tastes like oats. So of the three of these, I think the one that has like the most mild flavor is the almond milk. This definitely has like an oaty oatmeal kind of flavor. I'm not a huge soy fan. I really don't like tofu a whole lot. And so this one is my least favorite taste, but I will say that this one is definitely the thickest, even above the extra creamy oat milk. What I want to try now is to make a yummy hot drink with these. Let's heat some of these up and see how they whip up. All right, so I heated this up for about 30 seconds in the microwave, and let's see how it whips up. This is my cheapo handy dandy whipper. Okay, so it's definitely getting a little bit frothy. That's actually not looking too bad. You can see how high it's coming up on the glass as to where it was. It seems to whip a little better if you just keep the little whipper on like the little, maybe like the top quarter of the drink. So you can see like that's definitely foamy and whippy, like what you would find on a latte or something. So okay, I'm impressed. Not bad almond milk. Let's move on to the oat milk and see how that does. All right, so I heated this up for just a hot sec in the microwave. Let's see how this whips up. It's getting like a tiny bit foamy, but not near as much as the almond milk. And you can see the almond milk is kind of holding its foam there a little bit. So this isn't looking bad. It's just, can tell that it's going to break down really fast and it's not going to hold its foam. Ooh. Whoops. Okay, there we go. Milk everywhere. So this is, it's similar, but it's definitely, it didn't come, I guess it's almost as high in the glass. It definitely doesn't look as foamy. It looks a little bit thicker. But let's move on to the soy milk. All right, soy milk is warmed up. Let's see what it's got. If you don't have one of these little handy dandy whippers, I just bought it at Fred Meyer. I've seen them at Target and they're usually 15, 20 bucks, something like that. Just run by battery. Soy milk definitely has the strongest smell. I didn't really notice a smell in the other ones, but I'm definitely smelling some soy milk. All right, so this is not looking too bad either. It's definitely not as frothy looking or as thick as the other two, but it's definitely got, you know, a little bit of foam on it there. Okay, so that's not bad. The bubbles are definitely bigger on this. Now I'm curious what these are gonna taste like. So I've got my cups out here to make my steamers in. I have a cinnamon stick in each of these. Now these flavorings you can find, I've seen them at like every grocery store I've ever been in. Personal favorite is the hazelnut, so that's the one I'm gonna be using today. And so a cinnamon stick in each one of my glasses, and I'm just gonna put a little bit of this in the bottom, and then we'll add our hot milk and see how they taste. Okay, so I want to show you what I did with the other two. I just popped this in the microwave for about 1 minute, and I'm gonna fill it almost full, and I'm leaving just a little bit in the bottom of this so that I can froth it up a little bit. And then I'm just gonna spoon a little bit of that on the top. I love a little bit of cinnamon on top of this, so I'm gonna give just a little tiny sprinkle on each of these. So I wanted to show you this interesting thing that was happening in these glasses. So this is the soy milk that we frothed earlier. I think you can see that it's like the bubbles have gotten really big and it's not foamy at all. This is the almond milk, which is still fairly foamy, as is the oat milk. Of the two of them, the oat milk has held up its foam the best. So now we just have to see which one is going to taste the best. So I'm going to scoot that out of the way. Okay, so this is the almond milk steamer. It's hot. That's actually pretty yummy. The almond milk has a little bit more of a watery flavor to me. This is the oat milk. That's actually really good too. It definitely feels a little thicker when you're drinking it. It's not quite so watery. And with the flavoring in there, I'm not tasting as much oat. So far, I like that one the best. So you can see already in here that the bubbles are not holding up. They're getting bigger and kind of breaking down already. This one actually isn't bad. I'm just really disappointed in the foam. But the flavor actually isn't too bad, given how much I don't like soy milk. I'm kind of surprised by that. So of these, I have to say the oat milk is the winner. It's definitely a little bit hearty. It's definitely sweet. I don't taste so much of the oat, and the bubbles are holding up on the top, which is really nice. Yum. So there you have it. Oat milk is the winner. All right, let's check our cornbread and see how it's doing. Okay, cornbread is out of the oven. It smells amazing. And see if we can get one of these out of the pan. Ooh, that looks pretty good. It's hot. That one looks really similar. Okay, so let's cut these open and see how they do. So this is the faux buttermilk one. It's pretty soft and crumbly. This is the soy milk one here. So this one isn't quite as crumbly. So it's a little easier to cut open. I feel like it's probably gonna be a little easier to spread some butter on that. So this is just the butter that we love at our house. This is the tub, so this is more spreadable than the stick butter. Put a little bit of butter on there. Yep, so this one, which is the oat milk one, is coming apart a little bit more. It's definitely a little harder to spread any butter on. As you can see, it just really is crumbling and falling apart. All right, so this is the soy milk. So this is very moist. This is definitely on the sweeter side. I don't feel like I taste the soy milk in there, but now I'm curious to try the oat milk. So you can see that this is just really super crumbly. It's falling apart everywhere. Oh my word. So the taste is very similar. I actually feel like the soy milk is a little bit more moist. This is definitely really crumbly. I mean, I can't even pick it up and eat it without it just completely falling apart. I really like the cornbread with the soy milk the best. The soy milk, like who knew? Oh, you know what I need? I need my oat milk steamer with my cornbread. That's gonna be tasty. All right, so the winner for the steamer was definitely the oat milk. Of the cornbread, definitely loved the soy milk. So there you have it. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for joining in. Bye. All right, so the recipe calls for, what does the recipe call for? I don't know. All right, so while the cornbread is in the oven, we are gonna try, I'm the only one here. There is no we. There's the timer for the cornbread.